I feel like Biomechanics is an album that I'm going to find hard to talk about. On one hand, they have refined their style of electronica mixed with power metal, and on the other, they don't really do anything new. Now, Metalite is a band I've been following ever since they released Afterlife way back in the day, and since I heard that song, I was drawn to the band as I feel that they are very progressive when it comes to symphonic metal. So I was hooked, and Heroes in Time delivered. Now, if you liked Heroes in Time, then you would like Biomechanics. It just expands on what they were doing in that album. So a lot of the stuff that maybe seemed a little bit finicky, like for me, some of the vocal work, and when I mean vocal work, I don't mean the singing in general, I mean just the stuff written in English was a bit, not the best. And with Biomechanics, they have rectified that. So if you want it to be a short review, I could just say, yeah, it's Heroes in Time, but the lyrics are a lot better. And that's the unfortunate part about this album. I can just say, oh yeah, it's just like Heroes in Time. You won't get anything new out of that. If you've listened to Heroes in Time, then you will know what this album will be like. And before I get into the songs, let me just say, I don't hate this album. I don't hate what Metalite is doing. I don't hate the fact that the album doesn't really change it up for me. In fact, that I enjoy it. I just want to mention this out there for people looking for Metalite to be a bit more expansive and trying new things. As I see when you do review stuff, you do have to look for those. No, I'm going to start with Far From the Sanctuary because I think it's a good example of what I feel about this album, as well as the first release. So this kind of gives you my impression of that song as well as partially what I feel of the album. Because Far From the Sanctuary is a good song. It reminded me at the time of Black Horse Rider. And yeah, it was an alright song. I also have similar feelings towards some of the other songs that they released as singles, such as Social Butterflies and Apocalypse. They just felt the same. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but the songs just felt and sounded similar to each other in a way that just wasn't good. And that's a shame because I see Metalite as having a lot of potential. Like, they have a unique sound, they go for a unique style. So let me quickly run down the other songs on the album. Biomechanics, it was alright. Same thing with Warrior, it was alright. Mind Over Master, I don't really remember this song. World on Fire, I think I remember the chorus, but I'm not really sure. Eye of the Storm, it's alright. Breakaway, it's alright. Rise of the Phoenix, kinda forgettable. Victory or Death, kinda forgettable as well. But I ended up enjoying this album. Like, I just said that half of these songs sounded mediocre, and I still enjoyed the album. It's not bad, there's nothing wrong with any of these songs. They're not poorly made, there isn't anything holding them back. They are well put together, they are well produced, the sound design is great. It's fantastic, actually. And in general, the album's an alright listen. And that's weird for me to say because usually I do try and pinpoint that stuff out and try and say, like, no, this is lazy, but I don't think they were lazy when it came to this album. Like, they clearly stepped up their game in terms of production, in terms of songwriting, and everything flows together really easily. But I do have one problem with the flow, and that is that if you start to do something, like I started to just not focus on listening to this album, and if you for 1 second start focusing on doing something else while listening to this album, oh, two songs will go because they just merge into one, and you can hear the sounds of something good off in the distance. You don't really know what it is, you can't really put your finger on it, and I've listened to this album like twice. I don't want to give it a few more listens because I don't want to make myself hate Metalite. I don't want to do what I did with Dawn of Destiny and end up hating a band because of listening to one song or like an entire album for way too long. And I know that might be seen as a cop out, but I don't because I genuinely love Metalite as a band and I genuinely want to see what they can do. And I think the reason I can pick out Apocalypse Far From the Sanctuary and Social Butterflies isn't the fact that they are just, the singles that they normally release before an album. It's the fact that they were spaced out. Like, I could listen to Far From the Sanctuary and be like, oh yeah, that's like Horse Rider. Oh, Apocalypse is an expansion of what they're just genuinely doing. And Social Butterflies is a lot like Far From the Sanctuary. So I was like, oh yeah, these are good. Apocalypse was just alright, but I was happy to hear a third song. Like I could deal with these songs when they were spaced out, but you get an album in front of you, you want to listen to it all in one, you want to push through that and really take it all in, but you can't since the songs do sound similar to each other. And here's the thing, here's the kicker. If I was to tell someone to go listen to Metalite, if they were like, hey, what album would you recommend I listen to first? I would recommend Biomechanics. I would recommend it because it's an expansion of what they were originally doing, and then also go listen to Heroes in Time. Because Biomechanics is a solid album that reinforces what they are doing, but Heroes in Time is a bit more different, it's a lot more varied. So I would say go listen to Biomechanics and go listen to Heroes in Time because I see Biomechanics as a downgrade from Heroes in Time, and that pains me to say. So I should probably score this album. I'm going to give it a 5.5. The album isn't bad. The album is well put together. It's well produced. It's well published. Everything about the album is good. Unfortunately, its biggest downfall is the song sounding very similar to me. And that's fine for a lot of people, but for me, I would have liked a bit more variation than there was. And you know what? I might be wrong. There might be a lot of variation that I'm not noticing, but personally, I need to take a break from this album for at least a few weeks and then come back to it. So yeah, it's an album that improves what they were going for in Heroes in Time, but if you were looking for any variation or anything extremely out there, then you're not going to get it.